And now, from the Marquee Media Studio inside Mark Tank, it's the Mark Haney Show.
Yes, this is the Mark Haney Show on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in the hometown we love. And we do that by building the backyard advantage, the most connected community in the world for local entrepreneurs. And today on the show, we have a part of that community, a big part of that community, Spencer Bardsley. He is the founder of Shared Vision, a startup that is connecting influencers to major brands, and it's a very intriguing story. But before we get to Spencer, again, I've got Jay Azell. I've got to keep sharing his wisdom with you, because as you start having success in business, you need to have a plan. You know, if you just have this success thrust upon you and you haven't planned out for what you're going to do with that newfound wealth, that newfound money, then you're going to pay probably a little bit too much to the state and to the feds. And, you know, maybe you're not going to have things laid out as strategically as you could. So my question for Jay recently is, are there gifting strategies that I should consider? And here's what Jay's response was. Okay, question 4, are there gifting strategies that I should consider?
Sure. Yeah, so as we go down the process of saying at some point there's going to be an exit, you know, whether it's, again, even if it's unexpected, a knock on the door, there's still time, if there's no term sheet or things like that are signed, that you can say, well, if I've got, you know, well, we were talking about kids. If I've got kids in the family, that I can think about shares of my company to gift down using discount valuation or different things like that. How can I use strategies to either positively impact the tax exposure that I might take? Obviously, there's different tax ramifications with the state that you reside in, but thinking through those exercises with good legal and tax advisory makes a ton of sense. In addition, as much as making sure the business is, you know, highly operationally efficient, all the things that a strategic acquirer might want to look at, thinking through that from a personal standpoint can provide a lot of value.
So thinking about the wealth transfer effect,
Yep.
so that if you gift it after the fact or in your estate potentially, when you die, it would be paying more taxes.
Yeah, so we've had lots of clients go through the exercise of saying we're going to take a certain number of shares, percentage of ownership, and gift that down generationally. And there's lots of advanced trust planning that you can do to execute on that. And that can fund entities or accounts to then support education, opportunities for entrepreneurialism in their own family. That's transferred at a very efficient perspective. So.
And now it is my pleasure to introduce Sacramento to Spencer Bardsley. He is the founder of Shared Vision. We're going to find out about this high growth startup that is based right out of Sacramento, why he decided to start it here in Sacramento, and really how he's changing the game for creators and the creator economy. So welcome to the show, Spencer.
Thanks, Mark. It's good to be here.
Okay, so I'm surprised you would even come on the show. I saw you in Comstock's magazine. You're starting to blow up. You're getting kind of famous. I appreciate you joining the Mark Haney Show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be on here, honestly. That's a great article written there as well. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, great picture. So this month's edition of Comstock's magazine, it's got a nice feature story on you, a full spread. Very cool. Congrats on your success.
Thank you.
So let's get a little bit of your background in what is Shared Vision.
Yeah, so my background, I've been in the startup community most of my career, either small businesses or startups. I really only had one major stint in a large enterprise corporation. Shared Vision is really a company that's focused on content creators. This new creator economy or influencer economy. A lot of people, it's kind of moving in towards creator as the accepted term for the industry.
These are these people that have a huge Instagram or YouTube followings, or maybe something else on social media, and because their following is so good, they control they have all that attention. So advertisers and other people want to have these guys help them drive business for them.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they drive an enormous amount of business, hundreds of billions of dollars in commerce. a year, and it's just growing more and more and more every year. So as Shared Vision, we help this community earn in a particular segment called affiliate links, or the products that they recommend through all of their different channels. So they'll recommend thousands of products over thousands of different posts over a dozen different platforms from a dozen different retailers. And so we make that whole process easier. We're using artificial intelligence to do that. And we're using some proprietary technology to make that whole process significantly easier for them.
So these affiliate links, this is when I see something on a post on Instagram and I see a link, I click on it and it sends me to a place where I can go buy it. And because I bought it through that link, the person or the influencer that got me there gets paid something.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, it's just basically a referral, or just a bounty, if you want to call it that, just for those products that they're recommending through their channels. Yeah.
Okay. And then so tell me about, we know who these people are. We all, if you're on social media, you know who these people are who've got 20,000 Instagram followers or more. But then how do you help them?
Yeah, so it really comes down to the work that they have to do to make money off of the products that they recommend. And it's an enormous amount of work. So they'll have to find partnerships, they have to find products, they have to find brands. Then they have to be approved to be able to actually earn off of the recommendations for those products. Once they get that approval, then they have to post them. Then they have to see where they go all over their different channels. Then they have to manage them, because those links will break, they'll go out of stock, things will happen, products become discontinued, all the things. And then they have to somehow convince their communities, their followers and their audiences to actually purchase through them. So it's this massive problem that is really quite complicated when you think about all the different dynamic pieces that come into it. So where we come in is we take all of those pieces one by one, whether it's from accessing the links to managing them to actually selling the products to their community, and we make it simpler for each segment.
So yeah, when these links break, let me make sure I understand this correctly. So you've got this link and it takes me over to, let's say, Home Depot or something like that, and makes me want to buy something, a hammer at Home Depot. If they change their SKU number or something at Home Depot, potentially for that same hammer, the link gets broken potentially, and you might not even know about it. And so it doesn't, you just have this link out there that's not functioning.
Yeah, it's a dead link.
It's a lost sale.
It's a lost sale. It's a dead link. And the creators, what they need to remember and what they know is they're the ones that are the experts to their community. So the community will come to them. They're turning to them to find the right tools and materials to do something. Whether it's decorations to health and beauty to projects. And so when those products go out of stock, you leave this consumer or their follower or their community. They are left trying to figure out what to do because they're not the experts. That's what they came to you as the content creator for.
Interesting, because you think about people that have a lot of influence, and then they have a lot of products that they recommend from time to time. It's tough to manage it all, especially when you have many social media channels. You have many products that you recommend. And your job is to be great on camera or great on audio or whatever it is. And not all this back end work is kind of a pain in the butt.
Yep. Yeah. So think about this situation. It's really kind of crazy. So we have a creator who is amazing at woodworking DIY projects. And she said that one of her hammers was over roughly 500 of her posts. But she didn't know all the posts where they were. And when it went out of stock, she just started losing revenue. And in order for her to generate more revenue, she had to go back to each and every post, trying to track them down, like which of her posts is actually generating the revenue. She wasn't even sure which one.
A couple of viral posts, a couple.
That's
of
right.
ones,
That's
and
right.
It's like I got to go back to all these posts and
figure it out,
delete it, and put a new link on there.
Yeah. So our software, we do that automatically. We find it, we track it down. Are these broken, out of stock, anything like that? And then we actually automatically change it for them so that it makes it so simple for them to just manage all of those products. They don't even have to think about it.
So you were talking about like the size of the market. Now let's go back to that a little bit, because you said, you brought up the billions, multiple hundreds of billions of dollars are bought through these links.
Yeah, so there's a industry called like social commerce. So it's just purchasing products through social channels, whether that's blogs, websites, social media, etc. And over $500 billion is transacted through them every year. Wow. It's an insane amount, and it's growing rapidly. It's expected to surpass $1 trillion in the next few years, primarily because the U.S. is lagging in social commerce. The rest of the world has already gotten on the bandwagon. They sell through WhatsApp. They sell through all these different apps. And we are, as the U.S., just starting to catch up. So that expectation of it growing by more than double over the next few years is really the U.S. getting activated, and we are earning and working on helping that happen here, so that we make it so easy for the content creator to sell through all their many channels that we'll be able to take a piece of that growth.
Wow. Okay, so big market opportunity. You're helping a lot of people that are probably not as, don't have as big at teams, right? These people don't have back end teammates, in quantity, because these are like small businesses that you're helping for the most part. What are you seeing in terms of traction? Are you getting customers? How's that working?
Yeah. So we've really taken the last 6 months to dig in and get an enormous amount of knowledge and expertise in this industry. And what we've learned is the more and more we can remove off of the plates or off of the shoulders of the creators and putting more of it onto the backbone of our platform, the better we do, the better we perform. And that's really led to our introduction and implementation of a new AI system that we've been building out. Now it's not live or public yet. We've been kind of building it in the background a little bit. But what we found out from a traction standpoint, and we've gotten hundreds of creators at this point to join, and we're starting to really grow from a payment perspective and activating them. And the more that we remove off their shoulders, turns out the more that they are using our platform, as you might expect. So with our new advent of AI and our GPT system that we're building out, it's proprietary in-house. It's not just utilizing the systems that are built out there, but actually building one in-house, that we anticipate this growing rapidly over the next 6 months.
Okay, well, I want to hear what this is, but maybe I'll step back just for any startups that might be listening to this. You can take a business in so many different directions, right? There's sort of, let's think about the product roadmap, if you will, right? I know the first time I talked to you, you had all kinds of things that you were considering doing when the time was right, and you can't work on all of them at the same time. So what goes into the thought of, how do you decide about that product roadmap and what to tackle first, because you can't do everything simultaneously?
Yeah, well, I've mentioned this to a number of others in the Sacramento community, because I love the concept of jobs to be done, right? Like what is the job that the creators are actually hiring my company to do? Right. And it comes down to, are they actually hiring me to fix their affiliate link problem? No, they're not. They're hiring us to make sure that they have more time to create content, right? To just be content creators and not have to worry about the business side and all of those extra things and earning, right? They don't want to worry about that. So as a company, our job then is to take this earning potential through affiliate links is the avenue we selected, and to reduce that to as low effort or as close to one click and you're done as possible. So as we're building out our pipeline,
one click. I'm sorry about that. One click for the consumer, for the customer.
No, I'm actually talking about one click for the creator.
One click for the creator.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So right now it's a huge lift for them that takes an enormous amount of time, and so our platform is really built around how do we take that all that effort and reduce it so that they don't have almost any work to do. All they have to do is install the plugin, hit go, and they're done, and they just start earning money. That's the utopia that we're building for them, and that obviously extends over to the consumer, right? Because we want them to more easily purchase through the creator. So we've done the same thing for the consumer. How do we make that so simple that it's just one click for the consumer? Now, what this does from a product roadmap perspective, to actually get back to the question that you asked, is that we are looking at every piece that we build, and is it moving towards this goal, this job that the creators are actually hiring us to do? Are they able to spend less time and make more money in this particular avenue? And eventually, we hope that gets down to no time and a lot more money.
I love it. Okay, so thinking about I kind of going into these features of the product, how do you make it easier for the end customer? What is in your product that makes it a little bit easier for the end customer to buy more or purchase, with less friction?
Yep. So just to give some background on it, so our platform is really broken down. If you think about it from an AI system, we have the system that interacts and engages with the creators and all the work that they have to do, finding, posting, managing, etc., for the affiliate links. Then the other side of it is actually the interaction of consumers or their followers and fans, right, to be able to purchase through them. This is an incredibly just fractured industry that is full of links that are just going all over the place, and the experience is not unified. Right, it's not a unified experience. Back in the early 90s and O's, right, as websites were trying to sell to us as consumers, they created this sort of e-commerce feel where they added shopping carts or baskets and so forth, and made it a lot simpler. And they created a unified experience for consumers to purchase products from the retailers, right? This e-commerce industry. But back in the same time period, right, these e-commerce sites, they realized, if they get people to recommend through affiliate link, they can bring people in through a recommendation, and then they can purchase from that e-commerce site. Well, what's happened is that same industry is the same then as it basically is today, with a few better tracking metrics. So what happens then is all of these links just get sent everywhere. They'll be on social platforms, they'll be on blogs, they'll be on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, all of these different places. And when the consumer goes to purchase, they're just directed all over the place. It's not this really consistent experience. So what we've done is we've stepped back. We've said, how do we create a really consistent experience that consumers will always know this is how I purchase through the creators that I love, right? And so what we did then is we have different software that takes the products that the creator has recommended and puts it into a simple package that the consumer can then go and select the different products. They can look at them, view them, read about them, and then when they hit add to cart, it actually will bundle all of those products, and it will take it over to the retailer and add them to the retailer shopping cart at the same time. Because what will happen today is, let's say if you're trying to build a podcast setup, your followers might say, Mark, I would love to get your setup. This arm is amazing. I love that. Let me get this microphone. I want to get a couple of cameras. And they're looking to you. They're like, well, you know what? I trust Mark to have done the work to find the right products for a high-class podcasting experience. So they go down and you say, okay, I'm going to put all these links down here, and you have 20 links.
I could send them to 20 different places, like Amazon and B&H and whatever.
All over the place. And then what will happen then is, let's just pretend that they're all on Amazon, right?
Okay.
And with 20 links, what you'll have is they have to click on the link, they have to go over to Amazon, they have to add it to cart, and then they have to come all the way back. Each link is 3 clicks, right? Okay. So 10 links, 30, 20 links.
Gotcha.
Right? So you're getting to 60 clicks. They're not going to do that, right? Like consumers and the followers, it's just so much work. With our software, they can select the products that they want, hit add to cart, and it'll take them one time over to Amazon and add them all to their cart at the same time. So we're creating this really simple experience for them to be able to check out through their creators. Now, they're not buying from you, Mark. They're buying through you.
But instead of having to go back and forth with the Amazon 10 times or whatever it is, it's basically one click is the whole kit. I get the whole kit.
That's right. That's right. And then stepping back, right, what happens then is you start to, your followers, they love you, they like you, and they trust you. And so they'll go to you for other products, right? Whenever you do content, maybe you'll have a guest on that is particularly expert in some area. And in that podcast, you can have products from that creator, from that podcast faster to be able to actually take them to a new experience. And they can search your store, they can do all sorts of things and interact with you like you're a storefront, except you're not. Right? You're not a storefront because they're not your products. You're not drop shipping them. It's just you recommending them through other retailers and other products. And we're taking that completely inconsistent experience and creating a unified and completely understandable experience that you'll be able to repeat over and over as a consumer.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so now break down the artificial intelligence piece for me. Try to help the C student understand how artificial intelligence works in this product.
Yeah. So it's quite deep, and we'll go into just a few key pieces.
Okay.
So there's really the idea of finding products, right? So just if we started with finding products, you may be a creator, and I'll use an example of say an OG blogger. Will be a great place to start. So this OG blogger, years ago, and even up until not even just a few years ago, adding affiliate links was sort of seen as selling out.
Oh,
yeah, and this is not dissimilar to when ads on websites were seen the same way, like you were selling out. And so, the affiliate links are sort of lagging probably 10 years or so behind that, and they're starting to come up. So they're a lot more common now. You see them everywhere, right? But you may have this blogger with 3,000 pages, and only a few hundred of them, maybe even less, have affiliate links on them. Now, you can pay somebody, which they do, to go back and one page at a time add affiliate links to each page. Now, what that person has to do is that person has to contextually read the page, search for the places where a good and solid product would need to be. Then they need to find the profile of the creator, and they need to select products that this creator would actually recommend. And then they need to get approval. Then they need to add the hyperlinks, right? That's one page. So you'll see creators hiring somebody, and they might go back, 3-4 a week. And at 3,000 posts, it's going to be 15 years before they end up actually filling up all of their website with affiliate links.
Deciding where to put those links is consuming.
It's all consuming. So finding them, posting them, is just a huge burden. So this is one example that you can already kind of see the picture that I'm painting.
Or some interface that uses AI to go find that and go bing, 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 bing. And anybody who's listening who hasn't started using ChatGPT, you got to at least go play with it. It's worth it. It's like talking to the smartest person in the world, and you can get the answers like that instantaneously. So anyway, not a plug for that, but it's for you to at least understand what it is.
No, I maintain that if you are not using AI in your workflow, or you are not doing AI as a company, you're going to be left behind. It is that ubiquitous. It's that life-changing. It is already changing everything, and it's going to continue to do that.
Well, Scott over here created some questions for me using ChatGPT, and so I actually have ChatGPT questions for you. I don't know if we'll get to them or not because I'm using my own C student way of asking questions for now. But okay, so let me let you finish that. Any thoughts on AI associated with what you're doing, or maybe for other people too?
Yeah. So then where we take this in now, there are a number of things, and I won't go through all of them, but then what we do with our system then is we've created this proprietary recommendation engine that is able to preference creators and their profiles and their websites and their content to be able to add our software, our unifying purchasing software, and all of the products to all of those pages instantly. So that's something that might have taken years to pay someone to do, weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, will then take minutes.
Yeah.
And that's just one factor that we're adding to this. Now there's a lot of others, but we're taking the approach of, again, as I talk about those jobs to be done, is what's going to remove the amount of work away from the creator and put it onto the backbone of our platform so that they can then focus on creating and we can focus on giving them money and they can earn. Right?
Did you ask ChatGPT what the most onerous part of being a creator is besides creating the content? You could ask it what the biggest pain points are.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I'm always having conversations with ChatGPT actually, all the time. Yep.
That's crazy. Okay, so you won Kings Capitalize, the big pitch event sponsored by the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah,
you're in Comstocks magazine. You're getting recognized. What is it specifically that people are saying? You're the startup of the month. What are people noticing?
I think they're noticing that there is this huge opportunity, right? Like this is a good way to describe it is think about yourself 5 years ago in the before times, right? Where, the things that you looked for reviews online were typically high ticket items, cars, electronics, maybe a few other things, specialty items. But now you'll go online and you'll look for what are the best socks or the best nose hair trimmer or just ridiculous, dumb things, you'll watch and not necessarily dumb, but things that you purchase, right? And so now everybody is experiencing this. Almost everybody has clicked on a link and bought, and purchased something through some creator, and that supports those creators. And it used to be kind of icky only a few years ago, to click on something. You're like, oh, am I getting hosed? Are they gonna is this price gonna go up because I clicked on this link and they're getting a cut of it? But now there's education in this space. Everybody has also experienced where they probably clicked on a link before and it didn't go to a real product, or it just went to a product page, or it was a dead link and they weren't able to purchase. So there's that. And then there's the other side of everybody follows someone. I was talking to a gentleman the other day and he was like, yeah, I don't really follow anybody online. I was like, oh, cool. Do you know who MKBHD is? Oh yeah, I love watching his videos. I was like, there you go. And it's interesting to see how, everybody has this sort of shared experience of following and, learning from those who are creating these content all across the internet.
How are you? One of the things I heard the other day is that ChatGPT might affect search, Google, and so on. And if you thought about how that might, because you don't need to Google it if ChatGPT is going to give you the answer, and you go to Google it and you got these links and so on. Do you think that ChatGPT how's it going to affect the creator economy?
It's a great question. I think in some ways it's going to challenge the creator economy, but I think in other ways it's really going to bolster it, right? Because good content is really what those, large language models are trying to ingest. So the less regurgitation and the more originality is actually going to be, rewarded. Because, as you can see, all of these, with every GPT, there's can you tell if it's a GPT system? It's
right,
like,
yes.
There's always one following it, following right along with it. And I think about that, that interaction that we crave as humans. And if everything is shifting over towards all automation, then we start to miss out on that personal connection.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a reason we watch this content. It's because it's interesting, it's entertaining, it's informative. It's not all search. Sometimes it's, you're just scrolling, if you will, looking around. So my follow-up question was is this the creative industry changes as things move to Web3 and these different let's call it more immersive experiences? How does that affect the creator economy?
Yeah, I think what it does is it actually empowers it.
Okay.
Right? So we, obviously as a company, we're betting big on the creator economy. But I see this shift, right? I spend less time on well-known sites than I do on places and with communities and creators than I used to, right? So I used to spend a lot more time maybe reading something on CNET. I haven't been there in 10 years. And I love CNET, right? And it's like, I guess I should say like 5 years probably. But it's, I go and access my content through a creator because I trust the source. And so as we see this shift, all of these tools that are coming in, decentralization and being able to give communities and creators power that only businesses could have before, is really going to push the tide in their favor. I'll give you one quick example. Something that we're building is going to be an AI component of our software. Will provide the creators with Amazon level recommendation technology. As a single individual, they couldn't have imagined being able to have that type of technology in their hands without a huge budget and a huge team around them. And with all of these advancements, they'll be able to get it with one click. And it's that all of this evolution, it's all it's doing is it's providing with those downstream that everyone is now turning to with more and more and more power.
Wow. Okay, so thinking about business, so you're still a startup, but you've got these, this big product roadmap. What's the biggest hurdle right now in that you're facing, and what's the long-term vision? What's the biggest hurdle for the long-term vision?
Yeah, those are great questions. There's a couple, I would say. Runway is always on my mind. Yes, financial runway is always on my mind as a business owner.
Yeah. As long as you're growing, it's probably always going to be on your mind, right?
Yeah, exactly. And in the early days, there's a balance between, okay, do I want to acquire a user to be paid, or do I want to acquire a bunch of users that are unpaid that can help me drive the next piece? And it's not always a one or the other, but it is a question that we often ask ourselves. Growth, rapid growth versus sustainable growth, which, we tend to choose sustainable growth, but there is a question that you have to decide, So I think about runway. Do I have enough runway to be able to achieve the goals that we have set out?
Well, let's break down this for educational purposes, for me and for our audience. When you talk about sustainable growth, that means paying customers that are driving a profit.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Versus a freemium where, hey, give it away, get a bunch of users. That's got value, but it doesn't put money in your pocket.
That's right. Yeah, it's the how much do we front load our onboarding of paid customers or backload it? And what is the balance that you have to have in order to both create something that's viral, but that is also something that can earn you a decent amount.
So right now you get your payments from the creator pays you some kind of subscription to be a part of the platform?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yep.
And what's the ROI? Any sense as to what they're saying, what your users now are feeling in terms of ROI?
Yeah. It's actually been
return on investment.
Yes, it's been a really fascinating to see what our creators have been saying. So we've been seeing up to 2x what they were typically earning from their affiliate revenue using our software. And there are lots of reasons behind it, but it's been fantastic to see that.
They make double the money.
Yeah.
And that stuff's straight profit to the that's not double that's double revenue and double income, because it's in those affiliate links. It's like straight profit.
It is. The creators, they call it evergreen income or passive income, is the rest might know it. But yeah, that they love it because it's just a check that comes in the mail. They didn't have to do anything else.
Okay, so can I ask you what they pay, and then how do you price it out?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So they pay $49 a month.
Okay.
Most of our users actually pay yearly because we give them a bit of a discount. And what was the other question you asked?
Okay, so $49 a month, regardless of how many links you have, and even if you could be a $10 million a year operation or a $1 million, everybody pays $49 a month.
Yeah, and it depends on the features that they want.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there's a base feature. Most will pay the $49 a month. We do have a lower tier for creators that are just getting started. It's $9 a month. It's pretty inexpensive. And then we have a more premium tier, which gets access to a lot more of our features and access to our team. Okay.
And so in terms of 2x, how do you arrive when you say 2x? Is that like this month was double what last month was? Is that how do they measure 2x versus what? How do you know it's 2x?
Yeah.
Is that an average?
Yeah, so it's good. Those are great questions. So what we've seen is that we did a case study with one of our creators, and her most busy time of the year has always been Christmas. And she started implementing our software right around the holidays. And then there's usually a big drop off in January and February and March, and so there's a little bit of an uplift with Valentine's, but it's really not very much. And she saw sustainable growth and didn't see the drop off coming from her channels. And we were able to attribute a lot of that to our software and to be able to keep that experience up for her audience and being able to increase the AOV, or the number of products purchased per transaction. So we saw that for her go from 1 to 3. So she was on average, we did this really great case study with books, and without us, she was selling about 1 book per transaction. And with us, she was selling 3 books per transaction.
Oh.
And so that's a great example of that.
Wow, her average sale went up.
It significantly went up, and that was so that's one really great example of what that looks like. And so when what that means is that it takes less users to drive more revenue. So we had another one, same creator, where we ran one with our list and one without our list. And there was sales that she had significantly more visitors on the one without our list, and ended up selling the same amount with about on ours with about less than half of the users that came to that post. So it was just really interesting. So what we're seeing then is that as these creators are implementing our software, they can convert at a higher percentage the visitors who are coming to their pages.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so I sort of interrupted you when you were talking about Runway. So how do you deal with the Runway issue? I guess you can sell your way out of it, which takes a lot of time because you need to, I guess, reinvest profits back into the company and that kind of thing, or you can go raise money from venture capital and so on. So
Correct.
how do you weigh that out, and what's the plan for now?
Yeah, so as we've dug into this, painstakingly into this, raising to get the Runway is the right move in this particular case.
Okay.
And that's primarily because the cost of acquisition for our users right now is high. And we need a bit of Runway in order to bring that cost of acquisition significantly lower than our yearly cost to acquire them.
Okay, and this is not a solicitation, by the way. I got to make that clear, but it's like, can I ask you questions about that?
Sure.
How that works?
Yeah. Yep, ask me.
Yeah. How much equity you got to give up some piece of your company to get this money in, and you don't want to give it up because if this thing blows up, you don't want to have sold the farm beforehand. You want to kind of get the money as you need it, type thing.
Yeah.
How do you weigh that out?
Well, there's always a battle, right? Where the investors, their job is to maximize their profits and earnings. And as a company, we try to minimize the loss of equity for the company for the money that we've invested, or that we've gotten invested into it. And so we have to make a decision, obviously, if we are not able to have enough Runway to get to a tipping point where we can then flip the sausage machine, so to speak, and just start making enough money to completely sustain the company. If we can't reach that without investment, then it doesn't really matter how much the investors take, because 100% of zero is still going to be zero. So you don't want to take that approach though, completely, because then you'll just end up giving up all your company. So we have to balance. We have to make accurate projections and look at what we hope to achieve and what we actually believe that we can achieve and execute. Then we take calculations based on that and try to set reasonable expectations on return and reasonable expectation. Now, obviously, you can never guarantee a return, but we're very confident in what we've in the knowledge base and the technology that we have and the offering and solution that we have to be able to provide a fantastic opportunity of return.
Okay, full disclosure: the Growth Factory invested into Shared Vision a year ago.
About
yeah, and so since then you've progressed a lot, right? How would you say that progression has gone? Scale of 1 to 10. Are you completely pleased with your progression?
Oh, well, I don't know if anybody's completely yeah.
Are you you're pretty happy with it?
I am. So we stay so close to our community. So close. I text creators probably once a day, I would say, talking about different aspects, different pieces of the business. I originally started this company, full disclosure, as an augmented reality company, right? I am so far away from that. And that's because when we got to a certain point, I bumped into creators and I started asking them and talking to them because I was trying to deliver this idea and this solution to them, and they started talking to me about their problems and then ultimately about affiliate links and how they earn, or rather don't earn, off of this huge opportunity. Right? You can imagine there's these bags of cash lying all over the ground, and they're not picking them up. We're like,
we don't have time.
Why don't we help them pick those up? And we shifted our company. So the idea that we ultimately, and what we've been executing on, has really been an evolution that was driven 100% by the creators themselves. And so this is everyone, I get this question all the time. How did you come up with this idea? And I'm like, I didn't really.
Yeah.
I
listened.
Yeah, I listened. That's right. It's really their idea, and we're just executing on that. And I love that that's part of our cool ethos. But so answering your question though, I wanted to give that background because how do I feel about our evolution? Great. Because I knew a year and a half ago that as we were starting to shift our strategy over towards this, that this North Star, right, this utopia, was all about reducing the effort for the creator to as close to zero as possible. And as we are now at that point where we are approaching that. And so I could not be happier with the progress that we are having. And the fact that and by sheer dumb luck, AI has exploded over the last 9 months to just this massive behemoth that we get to benefit from, because we were trying to figure out how we were going to do it. And then along strides GPT, and we actually speak with Podium and a few others, with Ken over there, who's been absolutely
another one of our portfolio companies. He's a genius when it comes to AI.
He is. And he pointed us in a direction where we were able to and are able to create a proprietary AI system that will be able to rival pieces of the GPT, of like Chat GPT, because it will be so and is so purpose driven. Wow. And what's great about this is that we were trying to get where we were, and I was talking with Mate, he's our fantastic CTO. Man, I wish I could replicate 1 million of him, because it's just he's something else. And as we were talking about this, he's like, well, okay, I'm going to have to do this and this, and it's going to take me 9 months to do that, and then we're going to have to do this, and it's going to take a bunch of time to do that. And then along comes Ken, and along comes the AI's capabilities, and we look at this and we're like, we can do this in a quarter.
It's writing the code for you.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. So there's so many pieces that we now have the opportunity to just bring into this machine learning, this large language model, this AI system, or GPT, if you will. So it's exciting. I love where we're headed, and we've really accelerated much faster from that perspective than I expected.
Well, so from in terms of obstacles and long-term vision, so short-term, there's always runway challenges in any startup, any fast-growth company. The first several years, you can have runway concerns. But in terms of the longer-term vision, what does that look like, and how might you think about, what the big obstacles are for actually achieving that?
Yeah, so there's always. Nobody can build in a vacuum, right? Nobody can build in a vacuum. And what I mean by that is, for industries and everything to work together, there has to be cooperation. And we cooperate with Amazon, we cooperate with Walmart and a bunch of retailers. We cooperate with different affiliate marketing and network companies, and we cooperate with a lot of different industries. And so, one of the biggest threats could be if these companies all decided to no longer cooperate. Now we're setting ourselves up so that it would be, just insane if they didn't, right? But it is something
you're
that
driving revenue to them too.
Yeah, absolutely. But you always have to be aware of that. And so I'm a Boy Scout this way, right? I prepare, and look at these scenarios, and I do a lot of scenario planning quite frequently to look at what are our threats, what's coming up in the future, how do we set ourselves up so that if this spigot that is now full gets turned off, what do we do? What happens? So those are things, and the relationships, in my opinion, and where I've seen is really probably the biggest opportunities, but they're also the biggest threats.
Because I could see the product's going to be really sticky. I have to imagine your churn rate is low, because if you're helping people, right, they're getting their money back, they're doubling their money, why would you quit using your product? So
yep, exactly.
So it's sticky. Okay, so what did I not ask you that I need to ask you? I want to make sure I give you a chance to share, in driving this conversation before we wrap.
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe about our team.
Okay, yeah. So you mentioned Monty.
Yeah.
So what's the team look like? And obviously, building a great company, you need a great team.
We do. And, it's one of the things that if I were to say that, like, I am good at something, it's really finding spectacular people. And I'm not the brightest guy, right? But I love having people around me who are the brightest person, right? And so we have just a dynamic team that is full of experience. So our head of business development, Steve Simonzato, right? He is absolutely at the top of his game. He's sold a number of companies before. He's coming in as both owning the business development, but also advising me and mentoring me as a CEO, and helping, guide, different pieces and answering those questions. We have, Katya Allison, who just came from Grin, who's a major company, right, in the creator economy, who has absolutely been killing it in only a month, and being able to drive and take our ship, which was a little rudderless because we didn't have a head of marketing in there, and really right that ship. Right. And we, and Mate is someone who comes with, I wish I could describe, I'll give you this story about Mate. So I had been building our software back, it was about a year ago, and we had been working with a company, and for so many months we were trying to deliver a piece, and it just wasn't getting there. And so I hired Mate, and on his very first day said, Mate, I hate to do this to you, but I need you to go in, and I need you to take the day, and I need you to look through everything. Let me know, are we in trouble? And he came back at the end of the day. We had this meeting. I still remember this clear as day. And he said, we're going to have to rebuild the whole thing. But he also said something else, which this will tell you who Mate is, right? He said that don't fire them. Don't fire him. I will start today, and let's see who finishes first. So he started from scratch, and 2 weeks later, we had a product in the market. That's Mate. Wow. That's Mate. So, so we have just amazing teams. We just brought on Mary Liz, who's going to be, who's comes straight from the creator space, is a creator herself, and has worked with many creators for a number of years, handling our customer success. And then we have so many amazing other people on the team that absolutely are all in the right space, and we're all working together. It's fun when everybody starts rowing in the same direction.
That's awesome.
And we're right there. So I'm so excited about our team. They are what makes us great. Quite frankly, without them, it is nothing. It is nothing without them.
So the Growth Factory experience, maybe that'll be my last question, is how did the Growth Factory and the Backyard Advantage play into this last 12 months?
I would say in a number of key ways, but I'd say in three key ways. First one is the Growth Factory, and having the network here in Sacramento has given us Runway. right? It's given us the ability to tap into the awesome resources and community that is here through not just investment, but through mentorship and through advisement. So Steve was originally an advisor and has now come on with us as the head of business development, right? So this is a perfect example of something there. So both personnel, and Katya is actually a result of that too. She and I were actually on a panel together at GFX last year. So that's
GFX strikes again.
There you go. So from that side, and then
I'm an investor into Grin, and they're a great company. They've got great founders. Yeah. So in Sacramento, we sort of
that's right.
We love each other.
Absolutely,
okay?
Absolutely. Then I'd say the last point that's been quite helpful is the community itself, and that includes members of the Growth Factory team, yourself and Rick, Nikki and Monique. Everybody has just been immersed. Everyone has just been very free with their time. And they have been very helpful in when I have a question, I have somewhere that I can turn to. And what's funny is, yes, there is GPT now, but it doesn't always have the context and nuance of a relationship. And so it has been very helpful for me to be able to just text Rick sometimes, or text Nikki, or just ask a question, or be invited to an important event by Monique, or have a good podcast, right, with Mark, with you. So it's there's all these. It's hard to pin down one thing, because as I look over the last 12 months, I can tie so many little things that just add up, and it's been very helpful.
Thank you very much. Well, we're lucky to have you, and thanks for sharing your story. I think you inspired some people out there, because a lot of people hear your story and go, you know what? I've got this idea, and I was on the fence, and something Spencer said made me say, you know what? Just do this, and I'll figure it out. I may have to pivot, but I'll figure it out.
Exactly. I hope they do. I hope you do.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Mark Haney Show. Great show today. Enjoyed talking to my buddy Spencer, building a great company. Proud to be a part of his journey, and glad that you were able to be a part of that journey as well. So to all you out there fighting the good fight for our freedom, our security, and our way of life, here at the Mark Haney Show, here at HaneyBiz, here at the Growth Factory, we're never above you. We're never below you. Always by your side.
Thanks for watching today's show. My goal for every episode is that you find a takeaway, something tangible you can use in your business today. And if you have a comment about a favorite takeaway, feel free to put it in the box below. And if you have a topic that you'd like me to bring up on the show, don't forget to let me know. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship. Because at HaneyBiz, we are always by your side.